Good evening. I hope you're enjoying this copyright-free music called Dance Pop. That might be a little loud. This is Peanut, otherwise known as Pink Sauce. That's what I call her. Hello, welcome, Lady McTavish. See, I knew you would like this picture. Apparently, pink is your color there. Does anybody know what pink sauce is? I saw a video on it recently. All right, I'm just gonna let people settle in because we're gonna make some macarons. All right, let me get in the picture here. Hello, everybody. Okay, so we have. Let me stop the dance pop. We have a little bit of a different layout tonight, and yeah, we're just gonna see how it goes. Anybody taking the poll? Oh, eat it all the time. Oh, that's what you were referring to. I gotcha. I gotcha now. Okay, so the sound is not going to be the best tonight because guess what I've done? Hang on. We have a kitchen live stream in the very next room. So in order to maintain the same sound as I move from, 5 feet to the kitchen there, I had to set it up this way, and so I may not catch all the chats. So apparently, let's see here. Let me go back to my comments. This was it? I thought you were referring to pink all the time, but no, you meant the cookie dough. So I've watched a lot of baking videos, and I've been told that's not what you're supposed to do. But apparently, people just don't care. I don't know. How do you guys feel about it? Do you eat it? Do you not eat it? So tonight we are making macarons because how do we get here? Let me go back to my notes. I actually both honestly. Yeah, so I mean, to each your own, or if guys like pink too, that's great. It's just been a color that I've never really loved, and just to see that much of it in one room was quite shocking. But Peanut here, hang on. I mean, how adorable is she? But I call her Pink Sauce because I saw this video on pink sauce, which apparently was a trend like 5 years ago. And so, yeah, that has been her nickname now. That's stuck. And this weekend, I didn't get any pictures up here because it's been a hectic day because I picked this freeze frame for a reason here because I bought this nice mixer today, which I'm not going to be able to use because, in true Ashley ADD fashion, I just assumed, it would be the right thing, right? So it's I don't know if you can tell, you're supposed to have what's, let me give a shot at the kitchen here. Look at that. Wait, let me go. Nope. This is what we want. So you can see this whisk over here. That's what you want. We'll get into the kitchen. I'm just excited that I figured this out tonight, y'all. So anyway, I bought this hand mixer because the guy's like, we're gonna watch this video because I'm gonna finish the story here about how I got here. So a friend of mine from college has a son who's 10 years old, and he watched my 48-hour cookie video and apparently roasted me more than Uncle Roger did with Jamie olive oil. And so then I was on speakerphone one night because she's brave to have me on speakerphone with her kids. And so I could hear him challenging me. Well, first he wanted me to bake beef Wellington, and I actually watched a video last night on making beef Wellington, and no, that's probably never going to happen. Sorry, kid. And so, but he asked me to make macaroons, and so she asked him, well, how did you come up with that? And he said, I searched for the most difficult thing to make. So I was like, you know what, kid, I like your style. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make these. So macaron as opposed to macaroons. This video that we're going to watch, let me get to the actual video here. And can I move this back over here? Y'all can still see that, right? Sweet. Okay. My eyesight's not the best. In fact, I don't have any safety goggles. I thought I might put some sunglasses on when I'm beating the egg whites because, you know, Dr. Sardosky would not like me, you know, things flying toward my very sensitive eyes. So I watched a video from Josh Wiseman on how to make these things. And then this other guy that was featured in my 48-hour cookie video telling me not to brown butter in a dark pan. And he was absolutely correct, because it was very difficult to tell when the butter is brown. Am I too loud, by the way? Or because I'm using my earbuds. So let me know. I mean, I know the sound's not going to be the best, but if I do make a video, the reason I'm filming in the kitchen is I could get extra footage, raw footage, and then I can maybe make a video later and just do a voiceover. So I just want to make sure you can hear me okay. So this is the recipe we're going to follow. You know, this could take 3 hours, y'all. Feel free to leave at any point, but this video is short. This is where I got my instructions, because I saw Josh Wiseman's and the other guy, the brown butter guy, I forget his name, sorry. I'll put links, you know, I'll do it eventually. And wow, there's birds outside. It's spring. Well, you can't really tell in Vermont. I will talk about maple syrup when the cookies hopefully are in the oven, because we don't have some downtime. Remind me to tell you about the sugar house, sugar open house, sugar shack, whatever. The thing they do in Vermont every March when it's sugaring season, and it is such a wonderful time of year because y'all didn't even know how much I love maple syrup. Okay, so we're gonna do this recipe because, and you'll figure out why. I may or may not be able to. I have this other thing that someone gifted me, okay? I know this is complicated, as it, you know, you're watching my channel, okay? So this thing works, but it, you know, when the motor's about to run out and it has that smell, well, that's what it smells like when I use it. But I figured I can do this by hand. It's just going to take a while. I don't want to take up everybody's time, although here I am rambling, but you know, you got to figure out how we got here. So anyway, after watching Josh Wiseman and the other butter guy, I was like, no, this is gonna, but then I was like, okay, maybe I can do it. Maybe I can follow all the steps, because if you're new here, welcome. I hate baking, and the reason I hate baking is that, well, just all the things, you got to be precise, you got to have a scale, yada yada. But this guy has a totally different take on it. So we're going to start this. Let me make sure I don't have any other comments that I've missed. See, I always miss these comments. Here, I'm going to put these back over here and watch the video on a different screen so that I can see them. How about that? Will that be better? I don't know which sounds fine. Any of my blunders today? I can't believe I did that. I really just did not think about the fact that they would have different attachments, you know, and I bought the one model. Anyway, I can take it back. It's Kohl's, you know, whatever. They're fine. So this is Adam, I'm going to mispronounce. Well, I think he says his last name in here. We'll let him pronounce it. I forget, I looked him up recently. You'll have to, I put his link in the description. Please go watch this video. I mean, I think he was a journalist, and I thought this video was very well made, but you'll understand why I'm following his recipe instead of Josh Wiseman's recipe in a minute. Let me get back to this. I'm just going to play through his ad because it's short. Also, I actually use Squarespace for my website. I have a website.
This truly shocking French macaroon recipe is sponsored by Squarespace, the shockingly comprehensive solution for all of your website building and hosting needs. Get 10% off your first site with my link and code in the description. The macaroon is a beloved old world pastry consisting of 2 almond meringue cookies.
Is it beloved? I mean, really, I know this kid picked it because it was, the audio. Oh, it sounds good. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't know if sometimes it's too loud because it's like I'm both talking and listening through these things in my ear, which is just kind of weird. Okay. As usual, I will be stopping this occasionally. But I don't know how many people just absolutely love macarons. Oh, let me read the comment because a subscriber today said something about he keeps pronouncing it macaroon. So he pinned this comment. Q, why do you pronounce it macaroon rather than macaron? And I'm going to say it the obnoxious French way. I mean, I'm being obnoxious. Isn't a macaroon a different cookie made out of coconut? So like the chocolate bottom, which I love those. I really love those. Answer. The spelling and pronunciation of the cookie in question is a matter of much debate, is it? While the coconut cookie and this cookie in the video are indeed different cookies, their names are actually the same. They have the same derivation. It is very common for people in the UK and the US to pronounce the cookie I made in the video with the rune sound because, white English people always get it wrong. Certainly, rond is closer to the authentic. I'm really exaggerating that pronunciation to the authentic French, but I think if I pronounced it that way, it would sound pompous. I would sound pompous. Sorry. We have an established American pronunciation of the word, and it's the one I'm using. Certainly, some Americans do pronounce it with the rond, and if you do, then you do. Then you do you. I can read. The Wikipedia article on macarons has a well-cited section on this topic, so y'all can go check that out if you want. We're gonna watch the video. Okay, here we go. My stomach's grumbling. Got to get these made.
He's sandwiching some kind of filling. They are delicious and naturally gluten-free for all you celiacs out there. On a per-weight basis, they've also got to be the most expensive dessert that you're likely to see in a bakery, so it makes sense to try to make them at home, though they are notoriously fussy. Okay, now the big challenge with macaroons is how you get perfectly smooth domes arching over those little ruffled edges known adorably as macaroon feet. And no! They don't have to look perfect, they just have to taste good! Who are you trying to impress? If you liberate yourself from any precious expectations about how these things are supposed to look, they become one of the easiest and cheapest desserts that you can make in your kitchen, and they're damn delicious. We're going to make
We'll see about easiest, bro. I mean, I appreciate his, his attitude here and his spirit, but he hasn't met me, clearly. So we're going to see about that. But I really like this. This is my kind of baking. I love that. Like you just let go, because if you've ever watched a video or if you've ever actually made these things, this is my first doing a lot of these things, making ganache, whipping egg whites to a peak. I don't know. Do they have to be Mount Everest or K2? I don't know. So that was a bad joke. Anyway, we got some comments. Saved by the bell. Let me get these on the screen that I can see because I'm old. I don't think I've ever eaten one. A macaron or a macaroon, because the macaroons, they're very common. I love them. Number one says, nice, I'm with him. I usually don't care how my food looks. I'm more interested in how it tastes. Yeah. So as I was saying, if you've ever watched a video, okay. Good. So we're all new to this. I just realized because they're made with almond flour, they have an almond flavor. Because somebody suggested that I add like almond extract, and I really hate almond flavor. And I'm like, why am I making these? Oh yeah, because my ego can't handle an insult from a 10-year-old apparently. So that's why we're doing this. But anyway, so we're gonna get through this, I promise. I'm trying not to get distracted. But yeah. This is my kind of baking. Oh, you're supposed to, he'll go through the whole thing, but you're supposed to do all this stuff like put a water bath in the oven with it so they don't crack. It's all about, I just think bakers who follow all of these rules are just perfectionists who are taking out their perfectionism on the poor little cookie, you know? So I just think this is the way to bake, and we're going to do it tonight, hopefully. Let's get through this.
Chocolate ones. Here's 2 eggs. Egg whites are easier to separate and they beat up a little bit.
Also, I've never separated. I know, I can't believe I've made it this far. Surely I've done it before, but I don't remember a time that I've had to separate the yolks from the whites. The eggs have been sitting out, so they're at room temperature.
Better if they are warm. I saw one crazy recipe seriously call for microwaving your eggs to the precisely perfect temperature, but the easy way to do it is just to leave them in a bowl of warm water for a few minutes. They'll warm right up. You can separate the eggs however you like. I just like to crack the shell and then pass the yolk between the 2 sides until all of the whites kind of ooze out into a bowl underneath. It's a little bit.
I'm not going to do this technique because I've seen Future Canoe do this a bunch, and he just does it with his hands. I'm going to try that. That may bite me in the end.
Dangerous because if you puncture the yolk and any of it falls into the whites, you're going to have to start over, but this is the method that dirties no additional dishes. Okay, now because eggs are a variable size and this recipe must be precise, you've got to weigh your whites on a gram scale. And no, the eggs are fine. Just eat them the way they are. Okay, now you're going to need a $300 stand mixer. And no, look, I'm not going to tell you to do this with a whisk. That'd be hard. But a $12 electric hand mixer makes this a cinch, and I think actually offers.
Okay, so a friend of mine tonight said she thinks that I can do this manually. I don't know. Should I put up another poll? Can Ashley do this manually? Pulitzer asks, you haven't separated the yolks from the whites because you're not a racist against the yolks. That is true. I've just never done anything that I've had the need to do that because I don't bake. And here I am.
There's more control than a stand mixer. You want to beat the whites until they're just fluffy and foamy. There's no need to risk overbeating them at this stage. We're just giving them a head start. Then in goes sugar. Now you're going to need to get out that gram scale again. And no, look, if you really like to cook by weight, that's totally cool. I have weights in the description, but I'm going to do this entire recipe with 1 measuring cup, half a cup of normal granulated sugar. Now you're going to have to gradually sprinkle that in while you beat. And no, you can just dump it in. I tried it both ways. It makes no difference. Now you're going to need to put.
Okay, I will say I really appreciate the fact that he points out that he has tried it both ways. Now, this could affect, because he makes this look so easy, right? Let's keep this in mind. This could affect, though, I mean, the fact that he's done this before and he's made macarons perfectly, but now, you know, he's just doing it this way, it makes me think he's done it a lot. So let's take that into account.
Over a double boiler, and no, you can just do it in the bowl. I'll beat the sugar into the eggs until it's all nice and glossy and the beaters are leaving really defined trails. This is more sugar than a lot of recipes would have you use. I like the cotton candy-ish melt in your mouth texture this gets you, but you could use less. If you give up on the idea that your macaroons have to be cosmetically quote-unquote perfect, you can radically alter the ingredient proportions. For example,
okay, do we think mine are going to look better or worse than those? Let me know. Let me know in the chat.
Example, these ones I made with way less sugar, these ones I made with way more sugar. I've tried the same thing with the almonds. Every batch came out different and they were all good. I liked all of them for different reasons. And they all had basic structural integrity, which is the only objective standard that really matters. Meringue cookies may be the most forgiving pastry on earth if you don't get hung up on appearances. Part of the fun of cooking at home is the variety you get.
And he clearly doesn't, but I don't know. I think I don't know how mine are going to turn out, y'all.
From a handcrafted product. The Industrial Revolution was 200 years ago. If I want factory perfection, I will buy it from a factory. Anyway, I beat in half a cup of sugar. You could do less. Those peaks look pretty good to me. Now, to make almond flour, you'll need to put blanched almonds into a food.
Yeah, no, we bought almond flour. And I say we because one of my subscribers was kind enough to purchase not only almond flour, but extra fine almond flour because I referenced this video. So this, yeah, and I've already, by the way, I've already measured out half a cup of sugar when he said most recipes will call for less. I was like, no, we're putting in all the sugar. So I've got half a cup and the cocoa powder already measured out. Haven't measured out the almond flour yet.
Processor and blitz them on high for a good 5 minutes, and then, that's still not very fine. That's going to be gritty in the final cookie. So what you got to do is process it a whole lot more, and then, no, just buy almond flour. I will acknowledge that some almond flours on the market are not as fine as others, but the packages usually have a little window in them where you can
All right, should we switch to the real quick? Because I got some comments I need to read. I really, one of these days. I don't know if mine will look better, but I appreciate your belief. Hopefully yours look better. Some of those look like my cat. Yeah. I just think that I'm just satisfied with his. Hang on, you can still hear me, right? All right. So we've got Trader Joe's extra. Where it's extra fine. So we're all set on that. But I love his editing. I think that this is very well done, and he makes a good point. He makes his point clear. Oh, hang on. Oh, Marty's finally joined. Ladies and gentlemen, my mom has joined, otherwise known as Creepy. I like to call her Creepy because she's usually here but never comments. Thank you. No, it's not pink, but it's red. This is the mixer you're talking about? Oh, anyway, this is gonna be an adventure, y'all. I'm gonna follow his instructions. And I'm not gonna use that mixer. I'm gonna use the one where the motor's about to burn out. So we're gonna see how that goes. But he makes this look easy. I love it. This is just ridiculous. Thank you for chiming in. It does help the algorithm, y'all. I don't know if you know that. I mean, I know that people talk about it and nobody knows what the algorithm is. Basically God on YouTube. It determines everything. Okay.
Visually compare. Almond flour is great for a lot of things, and you can store it in the freezer indefinitely. I'm doing like 3/4 of a cup. More would make the meringue taste more cookie-ish, less would make it be more candy-ish.
Okay, we want less almond flour. I want more candy than cookie because I'm afraid that it's going to have that almond flavor that I don't like.
And now you're going to need to dirty at least 2 additional dishes by sifting all the dry ingredients together. And no, you can just dump it all into the eggs. Then comes an equal quantity of powdered sugar, about 3/4 of a cup, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And then cocoa powder. I'm doing about 1/4 of a cup, which is pretty chocolatey. That's natural cocoa, but if you want more of an Oreo flavor, use Dutch.
Was this your idea to make? I'm not sure what you mean, but welcome. Let's see. So yeah, let's go to the kitchen. Here, I'll just show you. Let me go back to this little. I have I'm hoping this is going to work. So that's pretty chunky. Can you see that? No? There we go. You know, I mean, I'm really taking this guy's laid back approach here, and we're doing it. Okay, let me go back to this. This is going to be fun.
Cocoa. In my experiments, sifting did absolutely nothing noticeable to the sugar or almond flour. It does break up those chunks of cocoa powder, a few of which might end up in your finished macaroons like that, but I have no idea whom I vested with the authority to say that's a bad thing. Truffles are coated in cocoa powder. For chocolate macaroons especially, I think a little bit of salt is...
He's making some good points.
Good, but really just a few grains. These things are mostly air. There's very little substance here to season. Also, salt could maybe mess with the egg chemistry a little bit, but a few grains is totally fine. People say that you have to fold.
Okay, he brought up the word chemistry, but we're going to forgive him because, you know, he's the champion of bakers like me.
The dry stuff into the eggs in batches, but all at once seems to work fine for me. I'm just cutting down the middle with the spatula and then folding the mixture over on itself. It should feel like the mixture is way too dry. That's good. It will come together eventually. Just be sure to really scrape down.
Gotcha. I was, trying to protect, but yeah, this is
on the sides.
You're welcome.
The French call this mixing phase macaronage because, of course, and I think that you can stop when it starts to look like a mousse, like that. If you keep mixing
Sorry,
it
wait,
past
wait.
this point, the mixture...
This was my favorite line in the whole video.
Macaronage because, of course, and I think that you can stop when it starts to
He
look...
said the French call it macaronage because, of course. People are so hard on the French, but you know.
like a mousse, like that. If you keep mixing it past this point, the mixture will start to loosen, which will give you a flatter, smoother macaroon. The batter on the right, I just barely mixed together. The batter on the left, I mixed until it started to go loose. And when I baked them, they looked like this. People have all kinds of tricks about how to tell when you've mixed the batter to the perfect consistency, but I say if you go into this without a predetermined notion of what the perfect consistency actually is, you can't lose. I liked both of these, though honestly, I think I prefer the craggy tops that you get from a thicker batter. You can kind of test the consistency by dropping a dollop off your...
If you watch Josh Wiseman or any of these other professional people, you're supposed to be able to make like a figure eight with it in the, and I think that's his sort of test. You don't need to make a figure eight. We're going to have to watch this again because I do have the recipe in the kitchen, but I'm going to have to like have this playing. I'm going to need some sideline pep talks probably.
Spatula and then watching how it spreads. Okay, now you're going to need to load this into a piping bag. And no, piping bags are great if you need to make like 2,000 macaroons a day and if you need them to all be perfectly sized and shaped, and neither of those conditions apply to me. I've got a baking sheet with a piece of parchment paper on it, and here we're going to use this very high-tech piece of kitchen gear called a spoon. I scoop up a spoonful of batter and I just nudge it off the spoon in a nice little dollop with my finger. They're not perfectly shaped and I don't care. This does take a few minutes, but when you're working at this small of a scale, I don't think the piping bag really saves you much time when you factor in the loading phase, and it's wasteful. Even if you're going to use a reusable piping bag, you're still going to waste a lot of batter.
I think in order to be efficient, we should pause here because we know what happens. You just put them in the oven. I need to go and get these ingredients together because the egg whites, that's going to be, well, anyway, I'm going to have to come back to the comments. This is going to be the fun part. So I'm going to cut to, hang on. I think I can take, that didn't work. Hang on. I had this figured out earlier. There it is. You can still hear me, right? Okay. On behalf of Kay, she would want to comment on how clean your kitchen is and how nice your kitchen supplies are. Yeah. Well, I've had a lot of these things, right? That little spoon rest right there underneath the comments, that actually was my friend. Many years ago. It's cracked, but I still use it. A lot of you see there's a flour sifter, but have I ever used that? No, that's just for decoration. So I'm about to go in there, but I've got to make sure. I don't know. Do you guys want to watch here? I thought I had it set so that I could just, all right, this is going to have to do for now. Oh, okay, so that means I gotta keep my my language clean. Not really. Okay, guys, now the pressure's on. So there's the person who originally came up with this. I mean, honestly, this kid's probably going to be a professional chef before he graduates high school. Okay, what do I do first?
I tell you to do this with a whisk. That'd be
okay.
I just like to crack the shell and then pass the yolk.
Now I have the sugar. Sorry, I have the sugar and the. I'll mute this. How about that? That'll be much better for you. I have all of that done. So what did he? Okay, so basically he cracks the eggs. That's the first thing, right? And then we're gonna beat that until it's semi done. We're not gonna overbeat it. That's what he said, right? And then we're adding the sugar. Okay, I think that's where we're at. Whoops.
Bowl of warm water for a few minutes. They'll warm
I hope
right
they're
up.
warm enough.
You can separate the eggs however you like. I just like to crack the shell and then pass the yolk between the two sides until all of...
All right, anybody got any tips on this one? Anybody on how to safely do this. All right, I guess I'm gonna leave. I thought I had a layout where it's just the, we'll fix it. Anyway, okay, here we are in the kitchen. I'm gonna have to go. I was gonna move my desk, but it just didn't happen. All right, I'm gonna wash my hands first of all. Please chat amongst yourselves. Feel free to roast me in the comments. I would say I'm handling this fairly well, given that this is my first baking live stream. First time baking any of this stuff. And look at me preparing ahead of time. All right, I mean, that's what most YouTubers, or food tubers, I should say. I have gotten quite addicted to Uncle Roger. Did I need this out? No, I think I just needed the bowl. Because, I mean, I don't know, I think he's pretty genius. Also, I after watching that video, I'm like, they make those? Oh, I'm never fooling with the rolled parchment paper ever again. But today we're just going to go with the silicone because I don't, even this is a somewhat of a pain. I mean, there's tricks. You're supposed to like dollop some batter on the bottom of it, but oh, whatever. Okay, let's hope these eggs are warm enough. I'm not going to microwave them like he said. Yeah, see, I just, I understand that there's chemistry involved and that you do want to get things somewhat precise. Okay, it is 2 egg whites, right? See, this is where, I had that. Okay. Let's see. Let me check out the comments. Anybody got any tips on this? No. Has the president called? Sorry, that's somewhat of an inside joke, but if you've seen Beat, you'll appreciate it. Okay. You know what I did that I shouldn't have done? I put the sugar in the cocoa powder. So you're supposed to put the sugar in with the yeah. Okay. Let me see, this is exactly why I don't bake. I thought I was doing myself a favor getting ahead on this. Okay, wait a second. I should have watched this one more time. So he puts in, how much does he put in after he beats it halfway?
We're just giving them a head start. Then in goes sugar. Now you're going to need to get out that gram scale again. And no, look, if you really like to cook by weight, that's totally cool. I have weights in the description, but I'm going to do this entire recipe with 1 measuring cup, half a cup of.
Okay, so if I put in the whole half cup with the cocoa powder, that's going to mess it up, right? Come on, we got some professional bakers in the chat. Let me know. I may just have to put in. I'm just gonna get. I have plenty of sugar. I bought so much sugar from I think I had half of it. Is it gonna mess it up if I put the cocoa powder into the egg whites? Probably. That's some chemistry I don't understand. That's probably gonna. All right. Well, what happens next? So then he adds all the cocoa powder. Hang on. This is how I bake, y'all.
If you give up on the idea that your macaroons have to be cosmetically quote unquote.
Yeah. Okay. What does he do?
Try the same thing with the.
Okay. Hang on.
Quote unquote
perfect. Oh, come on. When does he put all the cocoa powder and stuff in?
These ones I made with way less sugar. These ones.
Oh, I think I'm going by what's happening there, not. Okay, hang on.
I'm doing like 3/4 of a cup. More would make the meringue taste more cookie-ish, less would make it be more candy-ish. And now you're going to need to dirty at least 2 additional dishes by sifting all the dry ingredients together.
Okay.
And no, you can just dump it.
Do you think I could just? That's probably going to not work. Okay. I'll just make another. It's fine. Let's try to follow the recipe as much as possible. All right, another half a cup of sugar. You know, I could do something with that sugar and cocoa powder. I'm not going to throw it away. And by the way, if anybody knows, has any clue in the chat, am I still on the screen? On the screen. So I have these 2 different, I don't know, I buy these in bulk, and I don't know why they look like they're different colors. I know there's like Dutch processed, and then I don't know. I don't know how old. I mean, I don't think they're that old. I just went with the one that smelled better. Okay, so now we're gonna have, that bowl's not large enough. I think what I'm gonna have to do is put everything in this bowl. now. Okay. Let's see, how big is this bowl that he, I could have moved this desk, but it is very large. So, it's a small bowl, right? You don't need a giant bowl for this. Oh my gosh, I can't get it to the, I should have had some freeze frames picked out. Pressure's on, guys. I think this bowl will work, right? Or should I get the bigger? I should get the bigger bowl. Just gonna get the bigger bowl. See, I thought I had prepped for this. I even organized my baking things recently. Feel free to also just chat away. And okay, so this is the moment of truth. I think these are warm enough. They're not cold to the touch. Okay. I gotta put the egg in something else. Oh, what do you do with egg yolks? What can I do? I guess I could scramble it up, have that for a snack. Because I don't want to waste it. Okay, here we go. We're gonna try. We'll try it both ways. How about that? Can you see that in the camera? I hope so. Because so far I haven't fumbled the ball. I'm not gonna jinx myself. Oh, no, there's an eggshell in there. Wonderful. But I think you can get that out with the eggshell, right? Here we go. Perfect. Okay, so I don't know how Future Canoe does it. I'm a little bit worried that I'm gonna. These are also local eggs, by the way. So these came from Happy Hens. I actually know the farm. Well, I don't know her, but I've met her. Because when you live in Vermont, so yeah, then he was like, you don't dirty two bowls, but you got to put the yolk somewhere. So you are dirtying two bowls. I don't know. I don't know why people are so hung up on not having. I'm just trying to get as much yolk out of here as possible. Maybe he runs it through his fingers after. Oh, well, I guess you do get more out of it that way. Not that much more. Oh, you saved the yolk. I mean, it's still a yolk. I don't know. Okay, y'all, this is, I know, prime time TV here, but I do believe in being sanitary in the kitchen. And if you clean as you go, then you don't have to clean up as much later. Okay, so we're gonna try this. Should I? Okay, I'm gonna plug this thing in. Let's see. Has the president called? Okay. No, I have no advice for you regarding the actual baking. Okay, you don't use a big, except the one you're smoking. Oh, crack eggs on a flat surface, not the edge of the bowl. See, I should have the computer in there, but I don't want electronics around the. You know what? That's why I made that separate layout so that I could put comments up and I wouldn't cover my face. See, I did think ahead on some things, y'all. Okay, let's go back to the kitchen. Wait, let me go back to this layout. Okay, so now we're gonna start. Okay, this thing is making me nervous. Well, we're gonna see. It is kind of a big bowl. That's okay. Let me put this in the fridge. Make a high protein. Actually, isn't the protein in the egg white, not the yolk? Okay, we don't need chopsticks for this. Actually, Uncle Roger would scramble eggs with chopsticks, which I think is quite impressive. Okay. Oh, okay. See, I want to put salt in this because I'm thinking like I'm about to cook something, not make sugar cookies. Okay. I think this is the low setting. You know what? You know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to put the background music on and I'm going to mute my mic because this is going to be. Wait a second. Really? No kidding. You've never baked a single like not even a well, I guess what do you constitute as baking? Like I was going to say, you've never cooked a pizza, but that's not really baking, I guess. Let's see. Okay. Well, I always crack the eggs on the surface on the edge of the bowl, so that's a good tip for next time. Um, sorry guys, I've got to make sure that I'm set up here, but I think this is going to be loud. So let me go find the music. This has to be the cheesiest, but it kind of works. I don't know. It's not terrible, but whatever. It's for You know, I knew that was going to happen, but I did it anyway for some reason. Any advice? I think that's the lowest setting. I don't think I can make it any lower than that. Hang on, let me do this in the sink. Oh, nope. Nope, that's even. This feels like it's going to make it go everywhere. Should do it in the sink? All right, let's try this. Oh, let me put my mic on mute. Do not fall. I know I'm tempting fate. Okay, here we What happened to the music? Oh, there it goes. Okay, looks like we're gonna have to do this by manually. Listen, do y'all want to watch a video? This could take a while. Apparently I've missed a lot of comments here in the StreamYard studio. Where are we? Why can't I find my studio? Here we go. Wow. Okay, what should I well, yeah. Any suggestions here? I think we're just gonna have to do this by hand. Maybe we should put the music back on. I don't, because it just keeps splattering everywhere. There's nothing really I can do with it. And I don't know that this thing would have helped. 2 egg whites seems like it's such a small amount. I don't know. How is he not splattering it everywhere? Let's go. Let's just see.
Pretty good to me.
Oh
Melt in
my
your
God.
mouth texture this gets you, but you could use less. If you give up on the idea that your macaroons have to boil,
Yeah, I might just give
you can
up.
just do it in the bowl. I'll beat the sugar into the eggs until it's all nice and glossy and the beaters are leaving really defined trails. This is more sugar than a lot of recipes would have you.
Okay, wait.
About that gram scale.
What does it look like at
Must
the
be
beginning?
precise. You've got to weigh your whites on a gram scale. And no, the eggs are fine. Just eat them the way they are.
Okay.
Now you're going to need a $300 stand mixer. And no, look, I'm not going to tell you to do this with a whisk. That'd be hard. But a $12 electric hand mixer makes this a
Why?
and I think actually offers more
Hang on.
control than a stand.
Why is this so much? Why is his not splattering everywhere? Is it because I'm only using one?
You want to beat the whites until they're just fluffy and foamy. There's no need to risk overbeating them at this stage.
Can I do this by hand, y'all? Do you think I can do this by hand?
Now you're going to need to get out that gram scale again. And no!
I guess I've got it started. Okay, I'm just gonna do it. I mean, they had to do this back in the day, right? We didn't always have hand mixers. Okay, let's turn the music back on. Or should we? I don't know. I was thinking of some true crime that we could watch during the baking, but I don't know. That's just skipping a lot of gears. Okay, hang on. Here we go. I'm gonna try this again. Since I'm not doing this by hand, I think this music, sorry, the rest of them, there's one called Feeding the Ducks, Lo-Fi, Into Space. I mean, the rest of them are pretty bad. And everything, I'll get a copyright strike if I play music people actually want to listen to. Oh, no one actually watches him? I don't know. I haven't, I guess I'm just now catching up on all of his old videos because, well, the algorithm just started shoving them down my throat. This is looking like what it's supposed to, but it's not that loud, so I'm just gonna stop the music because this is kind of annoying. I wish that I could find some music that was not, that was copyright free and that didn't sound like, you know, AI made it. All right. Has anybody made anything close to meringues before? Well, most of you said you haven't done any baking, except for a few people in the chat. Okay. I mean, this is looking maybe like I should put the sugar in. Seems like I don't know. Maybe I'll do it a little slower. I mean, he said you don't have to pour it in all at once, but he also, you know, had a hand mixer. I guess this is not too bad. I mean, yeah, my arms are going to get tired, but whatever. I guess I should be scraping the sides as best I can. Okay, I gotta look at what his peaks look like again. Okay, I see why this is good. Yeah, okay. Now it's getting harder. Well, you've never baked before. I can't say this is like something that I would Tues to do. I mean, I guess if I thought these cookies, depending on how they turn out, are going to be like the most amazing thing I've ever made. And by the way, the second attempt of the toffee chocolate chip, I have to take a break. Of the toffee chocolate, am I not supposed to take a break? Are they going to fall now? That's another science question for the science family. Yeah, I just don't know that this is something that I love. Anyway, a second attempt, I froze some of the cookies, and those actually were pretty good. And I baked one last night, and I finally figured out, you know, in the baking videos, and they always tell you everyone's oven's different. They really mean that. They really, really do. I mean, I literally think like every single oven. I finally figured out that 370 for like 18 minutes for the big cookies to get them done, because I made giant cookies. Okay, this is like not looking quite like what he had, but we'll see. What do you guys think? This might have to be good enough. I mean, honestly. Okay. Okay, let me see where it is.
You really like to cook by weight. That's
Okay, put the sugar
You're
in.
gonna have to gradually sprinkle that in while you beat. And
Let me
you can
mute.
just dump it in. I tried it both ways. It makes no difference. Now you're gonna need to put this over a double boiler. And no, you can just do it in the bowl. I'll beat the sugar into the eggs until it's all nice and glossy and the beaters are leaving really defined trails. This is more sugar than a lot of recipes would have you use. I like the cotton candy-ish melt in your mouth texture this gets you, but you could use less. If you give up on the idea that your macaroons have to be cosmetically quote-unquote perfect, you can radically alter the ingredient proportions. For example, these ones I made with way less sugar, these ones I made with way more sugar. All of them for different reasons, and they all had basic structure.
You know why? Because I had it muted. My hands are, my wrist is getting tired. I think this peak is what we're going for. This is what I was getting at. But I don't yeah, it may take a minute, y'all. Do we want to watch something else while we wait? Well, I guess I could tell you the story of the true crime thing, because you know how I love me some true crime. I don't know if I'm even in the shot here, but it's really hard to do this on the counter. Nope, those are too soft. It's looking like some creamy material. Apparently there was this heist in Japan, I believe in the 60s. I can find a video. We can watch a short thing. And nobody was hurt. This person got away with it. They got away with like, I don't know, it'd be like the equivalent of like 300 million today or something like that. Millions. It was millions. And I don't want to give away the story, but it was quite the ruse. I think I heard it from a couple of different channels. Or I could just tell you the story because this may take a while. Yeah, maybe we should multitask. You don't want to just sit here and watch me do this, right? Oh my God, this is hurting my wrist. Oops, I muted myself again. Let's find another It's just going to take me a second. I was going to find this beforehand, but then I got distracted with the fact that I wasn't going to be able to use that hand mixer, which I'm really regretting now. Maybe I should just plug it in. I guess now, I don't know, is it because it's a single one? Oh no, my battery's about to fail on my camera. I can plug that in though. All right, I'm going to find you a video. Hang on. Let's see. Actually, I know another creator that did a story on this. It won't be as in depth, but you can at least, here it is. 3 obscure worldly mysteries that won't depress you. I don't know, she goes over the monoliths. Do you guys remember the monoliths? Do you care about the monoliths? Or should we just skip to the, we can go back to it if we want. Let's see, this is it. This is the heist. Okay, here we go.
Let's get back into the stories. In 1968, someone stole almost 300 million yen, which converted to over $800,000. This was the biggest bank heist in Japanese history, and to this day, no one knows who did it.
Oops.
And probably even crazier than that, nobody was harmed or even injured in the whole thing. On December 10th, 1968, in Tokyo, the city of Fuchu, a Nissan sedan left the Japan Trust Bank with 307 yen in cash in tow. That was about $817,520 in cash. And in today's money, this would possibly have the purchasing power of about $7 million. This Nissan sedan was occupied by 4 bank employees. They were taking the car with this oodles of cash in it from the bank to the bank manager's house. The money was eventually going to be delivered to a Toshiba factory, who was going to give the money to their employees as their yearly bonuses. Most companies in Japan are known for giving their employees both summer and winter bonuses. And in 1968, it was also not uncommon to carry that much cash around. However, the car had 4 bank employees instead of the usual 2, since the bank had been receiving bomb threats in the past week or so. So there wasn't a lot of extra security, but they at least traveled in a bigger group. As they were driving on their way, they were suddenly stopped by a policeman on a white motorcycle right near the Fuchi prison. The officer approached the car, and the bank employees, of course, thinking it was a police officer, stopped to talk to him. The officer informed them that they shouldn't go to the bank manager's house, their destination, because the bank manager's house had just been the target of a deliberate explosion and it was destroyed. He also said that the police department received a tip that the very car they were driving also had a bomb planted in it. He said they needed to leave the car immediately. It could go off at any moment. Remember, the employees were aware of the bomb threats that the bank had been getting in the past few days, past week. So they took the threat seriously, and for all intents and purposes.
Okay, can you still hear me? Probably. It's looking like you can still hear me. So this is taking I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be able to do this by hand because it's got, I mean, this is not. That's not that's not what we're going for, right? This is more like marshmallow cream. I could try this thing at this point, but I've got all this stuff on here. I don't want to lose anything. We're going to get through this, y'all. I promise. Okay. Oh, you can hear me good. Okay. All right. I'm just going to play this and see if I can get this to a consistency that was somewhat
This
work.
looked like a police officer, so they of course exited the car and ran away from it. The police officer then crawls under the Nissan sedan, presumably to go take the bomb out of it or to inspect it for an explosive. And as the employees watched from a distance, to their horror, they saw that this flash of smoke and fire started to ignite from under the car. The officer gets out from under the car, warns the employees that they must get as far away as possible because the car was about to explode right as they stood there. But as everybody started running away, instead, the police officer turned back around, doubled back, got into the Nissan sedan's driver's seat, and drove away. The employees were so dumbfounded that at first, of course, they had no idea what just happened, but it did not take them long to put all the pieces together. It wasn't a bomb at all. It was just a warning flare that this quote unquote police officer had planted under the car to make it look like it was about to ignite. The motorcycle that was left behind by this officer was just painted white. Upon further inspection, they could tell that it wasn't a real police bike. The entire thing was a ruse. And the clever plan didn't stop there. This police officer had 2 other cars that he had previously stolen parked and waiting for him at previously designated locations. So he drove the Nissan sedan to the first stolen car, moved all the money.
By the way, has anybody ever heard of this? Sorry, I just had to take another break and I got to find something to plug my phone in because I'm about to lose that camera. I've never heard of this case, but this is fascinating. I love me a good old heist. Okay.
Money from one trunk to the other trunk. All the money was in metal boxes. It wasn't just loose cash. And then he drove that stolen car number 1 to stolen car number 2, transferred the money yet again before actually driving off. We don't know for sure who made the bomb threats to the bank beforehand, but I bet most people would bet all they're worth that it was the bandit. Plus, the robber also managed to scatter a bunch of random objects in the area where he left the motorcycle and where the Nissan car was. So before they rode up, he must have scattered a bunch of objects around that might have been related to the crime scene. And it was like over 100 items just to confuse the police, just to make the crime scene more chaotic, and just to make it so the police couldn't tell what was evidence and what wasn't. And that was it. To this day, we still don't know who pulled this off. The money has never been found, and like I said, nobody was physically harmed on that day. There were, of course, some suspects. Suspect number 1 was the 19-year-old son of another police officer. This was police's number 1 suspect originally, but unfortunately, this man died from suicide just 5 days later after the heist on December 15th. He didn't have an alibi, but also police couldn't prove that it was him. And they also still didn't find the money after his death. The money wasn't in this man's house or anywhere that they searched in relation to him. My personal opinion and my instinct is to doubt that he is the right suspect, because why would you die from suicide right after committing quite literally the perfect crime and getting away with it? We'll get back to this suspect in a minute.
Well, I guess I was late to the game on this one. Hang on, I just got to make sure that my phone is actually charging. Sorry about the interruptions. I thought this was I don't know, I thought it was fascinating, but invent something new. Yes. This is I'm at the point where I'm really going to take Adam's spirit here, and I think this is pretty much good enough. So I'm going to finish her thing here, and then we're just going to add the flour and stuff, but I'm going to go ahead and measure it out.
Minute though. Almost exactly a year later, in December of 1969, a local newspaper put out the name of another man who could be a suspect. He was a 26-year-old man. However, he was quickly cleared after he was able to prove that he was in a monitored exam that day, which means that there was actual proof and there was a witness that he was inside taking the exam, and he couldn't have done this. And then in 1998, a magazine came forward with another suspect's name, a 55-year-old man who then would have been 25 at the time of the crime. The man's name was Yuji Ogata, and apparently the reason that the magazine thought it could have been him is because he was spotted giving a 500 yen bill to a 10-year-old boy for quote unquote good luck, and that was in 1968, shortly after the crime occurred. This man actually then admitted that he was the one who carried out this crime. However, he also quickly fell apart as a suspect as he couldn't provide any proof that he was actually involved. Plus, his wife said that he had kind of a reputation for making up stories. Family members also allegedly claimed that Yuji Agato would ask them for money shortly after the robbery. So this likely was somebody just coming forward for attention since the statute of limitations was up at that point. So back to suspect number 1. Remember, I had more to say about that.
Okay, I think this is about 1/4 of a cup. I mean, 3/4 of a cup. I don't know. I'm not going to do the whole thing. All right, so now I'm supposed to, this is as fluffy as I think I'm going to get them, y'all. I mean, it's not like, he said soft peaks. Also, I preheated the oven because that, I always forget to do that, but I just remembered. But he did say a little less flour if you don't want it. I don't know if I like that almond flour taste. Okay, so, and then we're going to need 3/4 a cup of powdered sugar, which is over here. I think this is about 3/4 of a cup. We'll measure after we do this. And, oh, and this part I just have to fold. And then 1/4 of a cup of cocoa powder and a few grains of salt. Okay, so here's the, I don't know, it has peaks, it has peaks. Now, I did see this tool recently and I thought, why would anybody ever buy that? You know what it was? It was a whisk scraper, which would be extremely handy at this moment. But that's about all we're going to get out of it. I'm not going to be a perfectionist about this, y'all, as you probably can tell. Okay, let's put the powdered sugar in because I'm curious to know if this is actually 3/4 of a cup, it said. Okay. 3/4 of a cup. Wow. Okay. Looks good. Powder going everywhere. This is when, I really miss having a dog because they can just clean up, well, sugar's not good for them, but okay. Put in the almond flour, powdered sugar, cocoa powder, okay, cocoa powder. Which one is the one that smelled better? I think it was, let's do it. Does anyone have any idea maybe which one's is it just, yeah. All right, we're gonna use this one. 1/4 of a cup. Where did I put my, I had it out earlier. Oh, because I'd already measured the chocolate. There we go. Never ever press it down in. That's what the lady said about the flour, but this is cocoa powder. We can put lots in. That's going to be very chocolatey, but you know what? I love chocolate. Okay, so now we're folding. We're doing the folding technique. All right, do we want to hear the rest of this story for those of us who haven't heard it before? They still don't know who did it, I guess, is the ultimate point.
19-year-old son of the police officer who passed away from suicide shortly after the crime. In November of 1975, when the statute
I also
of
think it's
limitations on
ridiculous
this crime would have been up in December of
that we can't say that word on YouTube because, That's going to keep people from doing it.
1975, 7 years after the crime, a friend of the original 19-year-old suspect was arrested on an unrelated charge.
Well, that
He
got
was
egg
18
in
in
it.
1968, which would have put him around the same age as the original suspect. Police started suspecting him when it was found out that he had large sums of money and he refused to tell police where he got it. But yet again, police couldn't prove definitively that the money was from the 1968 heist, and they were forced to let him go from that charge. However, this does make me wonder about suspect number one. Maybe it was the
Don't want to mess up the
real
chemistry.
suspect after all. Even when he died only a few days after the crime, this kind of gives a clear motive. Maybe he did it knowing that he would be gone in a few days, but wanted one last thrill before he did so. That is, of course, complete speculation.
All right, go check her out. Let's go back to this. I think we're at the point where I've mixed now we got to fold. I don't think my peaks were that stiff, but you know, we're doing what we can here.
Have to be perfect. And then cocoa
It doesn't have to be
powder. I'm doing
perfect.
about 1/4 of a cup, which is pretty chocolatey. That's natural almond flour.
Yeah.
It does break up in cocoa
Okay.
powder. For chocolate macaroons especially, I think a little bit of salt is good, but really just a few grains.
Okay, I did put in just a few grains.
These things are mostly air. There's very little substance here to season. Also, salt could maybe mess with the egg chemistry a little bit, but a few grains is totally fine. People say that you have to fold the dry stuff into the eggs in batches, but all at once seems to work fine for me. I'm just cutting down the middle with the spatula and then folding the mixture over on itself. It should feel like the mixture is way too dry. That's good. It will come together eventually. Just be sure to really scrape down the sides. The French call this mixing phase macaronage because, of course, and I think that you can.
Okay, here we go. We're ready for the name of the whole frickin' thing. Macaronage. All right, we're gonna do our folding technique. Sorry, there's no music. I guess I could play this stupid dance pop. Do we want to hear the rest of the story here? So then I'm just gonna dollop this on the pan with a handy spoon, and you know.
Stop when it starts to look like a mousse, like that. If you keep mixing it past this point, the mixture will start to loosen, which will give you a flatter, smoother macaroon. The batter on the right, I just barely mixed together.
Okay.
The batter.
I don't really care what it looks like. If it's flat, as long as it's edible. Oh, the camera's not. Okay. Oh, does anybody know about this? Well, the mystery of how he died, but which nobody, I don't know. They're pretty sure. I mean, I don't know if they're sure, but most people think it was alcoholism, but they don't like where he actually died was kind of mysterious. Oh my goodness, why can't I get this? All right, so the phone is finally, it is plugged in. I know, amateur hour here, but that's okay. There we go. That's a decent shot. So this is apparently someone would go and we'll just play it. iPhone. What? It said it was plugged in. Come on. I think my phone is like maybe on it's not last leg, but it's hard. It's harder to like get it to the battery to actually. Okay, come on. Sorry, guys. Let me just cut to the other camera. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get this phone to plug in. And it's not connecting, but now it says it's connected. I need a camera. Please subscribe to this channel if you're not subscribed. I need an actual camera. I mean, the phone actually has a decent camera, but it's, you know, it's kind of nice to be able to use your phone when you need it. Okay, everyone. Is it not connected now? Come on. Okay, okay. I'm about to give up on this. Come on, hang on. I need a camera, y'all. That's just all there is. I need a real camera. Give me 1 second. Sorry. Oh my goodness, that was, I had to remove the camera and put it back on. Okay, but how about this? Since it's already 8:30, sorry, I realized that. I think I'm gonna just at least get these in the oven, and then we can end the stream. Or if you need to go, I will not fault you for that. But we're gonna see if I can at least get these. Hang on. In, and you can still hear me. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this was fun, but I thought this was also kind of interesting. We're just going to get these in.
Fall of the House of Usher, or of course his famous
Oh, why did it do that?
poem, The Raven, which tells the story of a grieving man who...
Oh no. Okay. I know what this is. Hang on. Is Mercury in retrograde, y'all? It has to be. It's my earbuds. Hang on. Little trick of the trade, always turn it on and off again. See if this works.
lost his love named Lenore, and the raven that mysteriously appears to seemingly mock his grief.
Worked.
Edgar Allan Poe is credited with helping create the genres of Gothic and science fiction. He was born in 1809 and died at 40 years old in 1849, and his cause of death remains a mystery to this day,
Is this how you
with
fold?
theories ranging anywhere from rabies to CO poisoning, perhaps murder, alcoholism, or to just natural causes like a heart attack. While his death being a mystery adds to the whole morbid mystique of Edgar Allan Poe as a whole, that's not the mystery we're talking about.
It's a good question there. So I don't know if I'm folding correctly either. It says bake. The oven is preheated. I got to get the mousse-like consistency. I can always, put pictures on the post. Oh, I'm supposed to. Oh, yeah. Actually, I forgot about this. You're supposed to let them dry for like 30 minutes, you know? Because, and then this is something, here, wait, why don't we finish the video while I do this? The other video, because we didn't watch the end of it. So I may have to put these in and then, I can put pictures online and I'll make a whole video. The reason I've got that camera running in the kitchen the whole time is so that I'll have extra footage. Okay. This is where I'm aiming right now. Whoops, hang on. I forgot we're not sharing that tab.
To me, I've got a baking sheet with a piece of parchment paper on it, and here we're going to use this very high-tech piece of kitchen dollop
Okay.
with my finger. Do the traditional thing where you just let them sit and dry out for like a half an hour.
Hang on.
And if you're going to
That's
use
what
a
I'm talking
reusable
about.
piping bag, you're still going to waste a lot of batter stuck inside the bag. There we go. 20 cookies for 10 pretty big macaroon sandwiches. You could make them smaller if you wanted, and you could bake them right away, or you could do the
I
traditional
don't think
thing
I'm
where you
doing
just
the
let them
folding right.
sit and dry out for like a half an hour. That will get you a smoother surface and force the expansion of the macaroon upward in the oven instead of outward. I am
Okay.
drying them for a half hour.
Yeah, I think I need to do that because I don't want them to spread out. What's happening when they're in the kitchen? What's going on? Oh, Poe also wrote the first detective story. Okay, let me make sure I'm doing this folding right. So yeah, I'm supposed to let them dry. I feel like I should do that because my oven, I don't know, everything tends to like push out. Of course, it's all the sugar too. Let me see how he folds this. Sorry. I think I'm doing all of this wrong, but
Which
whatever.
might end up in your finished mac. Very little substance here to season. Also, salt could maybe mess with the egg chemistry a little bit, but a few grains is totally fine.
Okay.
People say that you have to fold the dry stuff into the eggs in batches, but all at once seems to work fine for me. I'm just
Yep,
putting
it's all
down
in
the
there at
middle with the
once.
spatula and then folding the mixture over on itself. It should feel like the
Folding it
mixture is
over on
way too
itself.
dry. That's good. It will come together eventually. Just make
Okay.
sure to really scrape
All
things.
right. Well, let's hope that I'm doing this right. Hopefully I can get this mixed up here in a few minutes. Here we go. Let's go back to this.
Today, few people know of the ongoing real-world mystery of the Poe toaster. No one can say for sure exactly when the tradition started, but there's evidence that it perhaps started as early as the 1930s, which would be almost 100 years ago. Every year on Edgar Allan Poe's birthday, January 19th, in the middle of the night, or rather early morning,
Mute
because it was
myself.
always after midnight, so it would be Edgar's actual birthday, a man dressed completely in black with a silver-tipped cane, a white scarf, and a wide-brimmed hat would arrive at the Westminster Hall and Burying Ground in Baltimore, Massachusetts. The man would approach Edgar Allan Poe's original gravesite. He was buried here from the time of his death to 1875, and in 1875, Edgar Allan Poe was just moved to a different, more prominent part of the cemetery, and that's where he lays to this day. But this strange figure would arrive in the dead of night and go to his original resting place. He would pour himself a glass of cognac and raise a toast to Edgar Allan Poe. He would then leave 3 roses in a very specific arrangement on the gravesite. We believe that these 3 roses represented Edgar himself, but also his wife, Virginia, who was buried right next to him, as well as his mother-in-law, Maria, who was also buried next to him. He would then leave the remaining bottle of cognac on the gravesite. It would only be a
This is
few
supposed to
minutes,
be
and
really
after the
dry, he
ritual
said,
was
right?
done, the man would leave. He did this every single year like clockwork. To this day, nobody knows who this man was, and there's not even any suspects. As people caught on to the tradition, of course, spectators would gather to watch.
Did she say both? I don't know. Did she accidentally say that? No, she definitely meant Baltimore, Maryland, if she accidentally said that.
A group of people would gather in the area by the cemetery to hopefully catch a glimpse of what they called the Poe toaster. This is a wholesome mystery because none of the spectators, as far as we know, ever tried to interfere. They never tried to uncover this man's identity. There is a couple photos of the original toaster, but there's not a ton. People, for the most part, really respected him, the tradition, and his privacy. No one even really knows how he entered the cemetery every year, but presumably he had to jump some sort of fence. Sometimes the Poe toaster would leave notes. One read, "Edgar, I haven't forgotten you." In 1993, a note was left that said, "The torch will be passed," which many people interpreted that note to mean that the original toaster knew that he was going to pass away soon. Either he was very old or was perhaps diagnosed with cancer. And so they believed that this note meant that he will pass the tradition on to someone else.
Yeah, may take a while. He said it was supposed to be dry, but I don't know. It's smelling good. It's smelling very good. Whatever, that's the chocolate.
And sure enough, in 1999, this happened. It is assumed that he passed away in 1998. And in 1999, somebody noticeably different in appearance came. While nobody could see him clearly, it was very obvious that it was a different man, different body type. Many people believe, including myself, that it is likely the original toaster's son or possibly sons. So this tradition was alive and well and perfect from around the 1930s all the way to 1998. When the sons took over, it continued. They stayed anonymous, but it just wasn't quite the same. In 2004, the note left by the original toaster.
This is fascinating, but y'all, I don't know if I'm doing this correctly. This is like, wait, you can hear me. I didn't unmute myself, right? This is next time I'll try to move. I'll make a desk. This is just way too. It's, you know what it smells like? It smells like fudgesicles. Maybe I should have done a smaller bowl or stainless steel bowl. I was actually going to grab a stainless steel bowl and I didn't for some reason. At the last minute, I grabbed the glass bowl. I don't know if that would make a difference, but this is so difficult. I don't know if it's supposed to be this dry. Why do I have such a problem with these things? I mean, obviously, you know, we went with a recipe that's not the traditional thing, but this is absurd. This is the part where I would love to have the mixer. I don't know. Does this here? I'll check the comments, but I can't scrape. I'm trying to scrape the sides, but everything. Maybe I waited too long. Maybe baking during a live stream is probably not a good idea, especially something like macarons. Y'all, I may just have to bake these. What do you think? Should we just put them in? Oh, good. The Poe toaster sounds like a kitchen appliance that only has one setting for your toast dark. I like that. Yeah, I'd never heard of the Poe toaster. You know what? What do you think? Can we get a vote? Should I just stick these in? They're not nearly as smooth as what his look like, but I don't know if I can get this any smoother. Hang on, let me see what happens during the. Okay, hang on. Let me just fast forward. Okay, he said don't overmix, but I don't know. says to dry into thick while they're still in the bowl, or do I want to spoon them out first? Too dry and too thick. Too dry and too thick. Yeah, it does look too dry and too thick. What do you think's going to happen if they're too dry and too thick? I don't want to add water, though. Doesn't that screw up the consistency? It's like adding water to fried rice. I don't know. Is Uncle Roger just not hip anymore? Is that what I'm hearing? Okay, y'all. I think I'm just gonna do it. I think I'm with Lady McTavish. I think we're just gonna throw these in there. Unless we think adding some kind of liquid is gonna help, but I feel like that's gonna throw off everything. So here we go. Let's watch the rest of this Poe mystery. Woo! Thank you. Thank you for the confidence. I don't know if I'd call it confidence, but here we go.
After successor got weirdly political. It said, the sacred memory of Poe and his final resting place is no place for French cognac. With great reluctance, but for respect for family tradition, the cognac is placed. The memory of Poe shall live evermore. This seemed to indicate some sort of annoyance with having to use cognac to keep the tradition alive. But in 2004, with the Iraq War, many people assume that this successor didn't like buying and using cognac because he didn't agree with the French's opposition of America's invasion of Iraq. And it was odd because the toaster had never gotten political before. And then on another occasion around these years, he also commented on the football teams that were about to go to the Super Bowl, one of them being the Baltimore Ravens. And
this part of the story
Ravens were actually named after the famous Edgar Allan Poe poem.
Did you guys know that?
The toaster actually wrote a note that was in opposition of the Baltimore Ravens, which was just odd.
I'm sure the kids did,
considering what the tradition was about. Jeff Jerome is an important person in this story. He previously managed the Poe House and Museum.
Saddest macarons.
He attended every Poe toast from 1976 until the official tradition stopped in 2009. He is the one that collected the notes from the site after the toast, and he even has some of the bottles of cognac in the museum. After these notes from
these are way too dry,
he figured that these new toasters were not taking the ritual very seriously. Leaving these political and other controversial notes was definitely not what the ritual was about. Allegedly, the last note that the Poe toaster left was between 2005 and 2008.
I still have to make the ganache, y'all.
After collecting the note, wouldn't tell anybody what it said because it must have been crass. It must have been inappropriate or something, or just not very nice, or would have brought down everybody's spirits. I don't know exactly what it is, of course. And Jerome refused to elaborate. He originally said there was no note that was left. But when he talked about the note, he did finally allude to the note indicating that the tradition was about to end. And sure enough, 2009 was the last year that the Poe toaster came, and that would have been 200 years exactly after Edgar Allan Poe was born. He didn't leave a note in 2009, and then in 2010,
should I even just bother with the spoon?
To this day, we have no idea who any of these people are or
the
original toaster remains a mystery. Someone did come forward
I have to put
and
20 on here, right? Because they make 10.
But many people have disproven his story. Copycats did try to revive the tradition in subsequent years, but it just wasn't the same.
This is going to be so bad.
Obvious that they were just trying to imitate the
this
original
is too sticky,
toaster.
I think.
Jerome, for example, who had been
I feel like I forgot an ingredient.
The ritual for decades and managed the museums, and so the Poe toaster recognized him. The original toaster and the
sorry, I can't stop the video and talk.
Give Jerome a hand signal at the end of the ritual that Jerome recognized. And of course, the copycats didn't know what the signal was, and they didn't do it. They also failed to place the roses in the correct arrangement, amongst some other clues. In 2016, the locals did try to actually revive the tradition and actually appoint a new Poe toaster, which I guess they were trying to still keep anonymous, but he wouldn't really be anonymous, you know? I do still like it though, because now we just have to accept it for what it is, which is really a reenactment or an homage to the original Poe toaster. It's now done in the daylight, often the weekend before Edgar Allan Poe's birthday so that more people can come, and it's more of this little celebration and people gather for. It's more of a performance. They have a violin playing, so it's not quite the
Sorry.
same, but nothing lasts forever. I would still absolutely love to witness the reenactment someday. This is one of my favorite mysteries, though. It's just amazing to me that there's literally no suspects. Nobody has ever come forward with who the identity of the original toaster was. That means somebody's dad just started this tradition, and his son or his sons know about it and
I
participate.
love that. Somebody's dad. Okay, so these are. What do we think about the Poe toaster? I had no idea this existed. I'm surprised. This is like that's something that I should know about. So I know why he did use the spoon. It's just this stuff sticks to your fingers. These are going to be some craggy macarons. Let me tell you, macaron. It's like the dough is like kind of. These are. Whew, maybe baking during a live stream, unless you actually know what you're doing, is a bad idea. Have I put too many on here? I forgot how many he put on there. I think it was about this many. But then he said, don't make them too big, right? Whatever. You know what? Let's just, in the spirit of not being perfectionist, we're just going to put these in there and see what happens. I mean, didn't he say they were some of them, like at the end of the day, it's some of the most inexpensive dessert? Well, not if you count time as money. I mean, come on. Is it really worth spending all this time? And I haven't even done the proper steps, y'all. I haven't even made the ganache. I still got to do that for the filling. That's just going to be cream and chocolate, though. So let's see if we can get one more pathetic little macaron. He said it makes 10, so I assume you need 20 because they make a sandwich. So I don't know. Maybe some of these are too big. I hope you guys are laughing at me. Somebody's at least getting some joy out of this because these are probably gonna not even taste good. And so much for only dirtying one dish. Okay, let's stick these silly things in, and then I'll get the cream started. I did see a video with Uncle Roger when he was in Thailand, and it was they made this thing called angry fried rat. I feel like this should have a similar name. Angry baked something. Anybody got any suggestions? Okay, here we go. Let's stick these silly things in the macaron. The French have to make everything complicated. I actually saw a video title recently. I didn't watch the whole video, but it was something like Julia Child's orange cake nearly put me in an early grave or something like that. I just don't understand why things have to be so complicated. Okay. Oh, I should put a timer on. Let's see. What? Let's not forget that. Heat oven. Bake until they start to crack, about 15 minutes. Well, I guess we'll have to watch them to see when they crack. Let's go 14. Cool completely. Okay, to make the ganache, combine as little as 2 tablespoons of cream. That's all I needed. I bought a whole thing. I don't use heavy cream. With an equal quantity of chocolate by volume. What? I didn't think I'd have to do math during this. Okay. 2 tablespoons, really? Okay, so it's essentially what you do is you microwave this. Let's go back to the instructions. Just make sure I got everything. Making the ganache. Here we go. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of copy what he did there. Oh, it said it lost Oh, well, you guys didn't need to hear that. Anyway, he just said he kind of, hang on, can you hear her? Oops. Hmm. That's nice. That is nice of her. Okay, so guys, the cookies are in the oven, the macaron. And I don't know, I just kind of measured out what I thought should be. Hang on, let me get back on this thing. What I thought should be, uh, you know, what looks good for the ganache. So I think I'm supposed to just melt this in the microwave. Hmm. See, again, what's the all this waiting on like the 48-hour cookies, 100-hour brownie? Who wants to wait this long? I'm supposed to like I can't even enjoy these tonight. Although I haven't put a lot of effort into them, I'll be honest. So let's microwave the ganache, I guess, now. Um, never made ganache before. Has anybody made that? They should be done in about, let's see, 9 minutes. I could try to bring the phone over to the oven, but it's a little bit of a setup. The video is muted. Oh, was that before? Yeah, but you can hear everything now though, right? So about 9 minutes for these now, and I'm gonna microwave this. How long did he say in the microwave? Yeah, this is what they're supposed to look like. Mine are not gonna look like that, y'all. Hmm. Well, so far, mine are looking like some bizarre. They're not looking like that. They look like cookies. They've got some craggy tops for sure. Mine are certainly not going to look like that ever, even if I attempted to make them look like that. No, I don't enjoy perfecting any of this. I don't enjoy this at all. Really? They were ridiculously easy? Ridiculous? I don't think this is ridiculously easy, y'all. I don't know what his definition of ridiculously easy is, but this is not ridiculously easy for me. I don't understand why I can't get all of this stuff right. Ever. I don't even know. How long am I supposed to put this in the microwave? Oh, you signed up for this. Y'all voted for this. Remember that. Oh, hang on. Let me go back to the. Oh, I use dark. Okay. Okay, just starts to bubble. Here we go. Very short. Doesn't take cream long to bubble, does it? Maybe I wish I could see in my microwave. There we go. I think that's good enough. And then I'm just gonna mix it, right? Oh, this doesn't feel warm. Yeah, see, you gotta do 3 different steps. I don't think this is. Hang on. Why isn't my thing melting? Did I not add enough chocolate? I'm afraid of getting the ganache too. I don't know. Here, let's add more chocolate. Can't have enough chocolate, right? I can't tell if it's bubbling. Because the microwave has one of those. Anyway, it's hard to tell. It's hard to see in there. Here we go. That's bubbling. Now, so then he said, now I got to cool it off. So there's no way I was going to be able to enjoy any of these tonight anyway. I sort of knew that, but I don't know. Maybe I've gotten this too hot now. That's not. Why isn't the chocolate melting? Is it not enough chocolate? See? I hate these videos. They always make it look so easy. Look how easy this is. No, it's not easy. Oh, I hate this. This is why I don't bake. Wait, what did his look like? Hang on. No, that my ganache is not looking like that, y'all. That is not. I did exactly what he said to do. Do I need to let it cool? You know what? Let's just wait and see what we may have to throw all of this away in the long run. Oh, these are some big macarons. Well, some of them are big, some of them are smaller. So they got about 3 minutes. I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what do I'm you know what? I may just go to the bakery tomorrow and buy some ganache. Should I just start over? Did I get it too hot? You're supposed to use a double boiler, but I saw another video that said you're only supposed to use that if you want like the ganache to drip down the side of a cake. Like this is fine for what we're using it for. I don't know. I'm glad I'm making somebody laugh. Y'all, it's almost 9 o'clock. This is the longest live stream I've ever, well, except for the football games. But if you want to stay, the cookies are almost done. You can at least see what that's going to be. I may have to start over with the ganache after the live stream's over, because if anybody's got some suggestions, I did it. I followed the instructions. I did it exactly how he did it. Does that look like what he? No, this looks like chocolate milk. I hate this. This is why I do not bake. Okay. 2 minutes. I set the timer for 14 minutes instead of 15 minutes. So I can't tell if they're really cracking because there's well, you know, they're rough on the edges. They're rough all around. They're rough. They're pretty rough, y'all. It's not. I'm hoping they're edible. That's all I care about. I mean, it's the same, you know, as long as it's like the same ingredients, right? Like they're going to be edible, right? Let's hope so. One of them has like a little crown on the top of it. That one's interesting. Well, you know, these are definitely going to be unique. What did he say? You know, if you want factory bought, then go to the factory. But if you want whatever this is, I don't know. Should I just put it in the fridge? See if it thickens up. Let's just do that. Oh, we got the egg yolks in there. I got to do something with all this food. I bought all that for 2 tablespoons. I don't know. Maybe I'll make more ganache. Maybe I'll perfect my ganache making skills since I have all that heavy cream now. Okay, here we go. They've been in there for 14 minutes. I don't know if these are technically cracked because, well, they're just all cracked. They're all cracked to be hopefully edible. Okay, let's see. I think I could probably take these out. I mean, they're probably as good as they're going to get, I think, honestly. Okay, you ready for this? Are we on film? Is it live? Can you see me? Oh, here we go. Voila, as the French say. And no, it's not voila, it's voila. Here we go. Look, I bought these things. So I mean, they look like macarons, right? Macaron. The French would be have me sent to the guillotine for these. I think these are not. Let's just hope they survive. Okay, cool completely. Now, do I take them off of the? Do I put them on a cookie? Do I put them on one of those wire things? He didn't say that, did he? Anyway, I think now that you've seen what they look like, at least. Here, wait. Let me get a better. Oh no, I didn't have the right camera on, guys. Ah. Okay. Here we go. Let me get a better. See, and the other problem is StreamYard doesn't have I can't hear it when a comment comes in. All right, here we go. Let me move this to this to no. There we nope, that's not what I wanted either. Come on. There we go. I'm so done with StreamYard, y'all. Ah, there we go. Full kitchen. So here we go. These are, I mean, they're definitely cracked. You know, they're unique. I can't believe I didn't have the right camera on. You know, at least I can get the technology right. I don't know. I mean, they're looking, I don't know, I probably shouldn't touch them. I mean, they look sort of like his. They're a little bit lighter. But this is what the ganache is looking like. It looks like chocolate milk. Could you not see me that whole time in the kitchen? Because that's going to really suck. I hope it was at least recording on both cameras. Yeah, they look okay. Anyway, let me put me back up here. Thank you for attending this. And mine are definitely not going to look like that. They're definitely not going to look like that. But they might be tasty. I'll let you guys know. I feel like I should end this because the chocolate milk and all. I think it's called ganache because it makes gnash your teeth together. Yeah, I guess it's really sweet usually, but he said I didn't add any extra sugar. So anyway, I think I'm just going to end this. Thank you all for being here. If I do this again, I think I need to do something. I don't know. I probably won't do it again. I did it because people voted it in. I never put something on a poll that you think, oh, people will never vote for that. Yeah, that was a mistake. So I really appreciate you all being here. Should we put the dance pop back on now that let's get Peanut back in here. That's something nice to look at. Thank you all for being here. And I will probably make a video about this if I got enough good footage in there. And I'm making a video about football injuries for you NFL football fans. It'll be interesting, I think. But oh, we got more comments. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the it's whatever. It'll be fine. But I'll let you know how they taste for sure, and just stay tuned. I gotta let them cool completely before I know how tasty they're gonna be, if they're gonna be tasty at all. But thank you. Yeah, I'll post it. Maybe I'll do like a short about it. You guys are way too generous with your compliments. It's just so frustrating when, like, you saw the video. I did exactly, well, not exactly, most of the things that he did. And like, why was it so dry? Was it because I was talking too much? Anyway, let me know in the comments after, because it does help with the algorithm, because it thinks, people are interested. All right, thank you so much. I'll let you know how these turn out. And until next time, stay unleashed.